Hello, happy Winning Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so little under the weather. I have been under the weather, I think, since I ate romaine, some bad romaine, I think, last week. So um, I've been a little ugh with my stomach, but I wanted to come on here and talk about joy, like the real reason joy feels so far away. Um, So I touched on this on the Monday message that went out by email. So essentially, when we get to our lovely adult years, um, like it seems like a lot of us kind of misplace our joy. We lose our joy. And so this isn't like like dramatic rock bottom kind of way, like all of a sudden it's just taken away, but it's usually like kind of like a slow fade. It's like one day you looked up and you realize, I am not having fun anymore. Like, do you remember like a time, like the last time that you genuinely, effortlessly, like you were fully alive, enjoying the moment, present, laughing, um, like not performance in a performance way or like a you know, practicing your gratitude kind of way, but like actually lit up from the inside. And so the scary part is not exactly like how it happens. The scary part is how normal it starts to feel and how we just kind of adjusted to this like no joy and lowered the bar and we called it adulting and responsibility and being realistic and growing up, right? So I want to offer a different story today because like I don't think that you totally lost your joy, right? I just think that you buried it somewhere and there's a very important difference between the two. So when you think back and like try to go as far back as you need to, but like when joy was just there and it was available, like you didn't have to earn it, schedule it, justify it. It's you were just completely absorbed in the moment. Like because it felt good, right? Like, for me, like I think about back when like I would just go find people to play with, right? Like I would just go up and down the neighborhood, knocking on kids' doors, and just like, hey, let's go like play hide and go seek or something, or go play in the ditch in the. that sounds so bad. The ditch, like the stream or something, and go like try to find like weird things like bugs and whatever, like it was fun, like it made you feel alive. For most of us, yeah, that's going to be in childhood, before we had to have the responsibilities and the bills and like uh the 9 to 5 and taking care of everybody else, right? So before we learned that being too much was something that we needed to suppress or it was a problem for others, right? But before we edited ourselves to fit into spaces that were never really built for the full versions of us, of who we were. So somewhere in the process of becoming a functioning adult, of course, like we put these stipulations on we have to be a good parent and a reliable partner and we have to be productive in our jobs and be successful. And so we stopped asking like what brings me joy and start only asking like what needs to get done. And joy, like when it when we're not being intentional, we're not inviting it in, it just kind of doesn't come anymore. Like it's what I want you to understand is that joy is, and understand joy from like the nervous system perspective, because it's not just poetic, but it's actually biological. So joy is not just an emotion, it is a physiological state. It actually lives in the body. It requires safety, though, to come out, to emerge. And it requires spaciousness. It requires a nervous system that's not running on cortisol and survival and, like the chronic low grade hum of being, too much and or having too much to do and not enough time. So when we're in sympathetic overdrive, which, most of us are most of the time, the body does not have the bandwidth for joy. It's simply like there's not enough energy there. And so it's, like its main thing, it's scanning for threat, right? Like it's constantly scanning for threat. So it's too busy managing the to-do list and the relationships and the finances and the future and all the what ifs, right? So joy, it requires a specific, like it requires you to be present, like there in your body. And presence requires a nervous system that feels safe enough to actually land in that moment, to not be thinking about all the things that could go wrong, right? So this is why you can be on a beautiful vacation and still be kind of anxious, or like, why can't I relax into this moment? There's like we got to get, we scheduled this thing and we got to make sure that the kids are dry before we go out, and like, and then we have to make sure everybody eats, and like, and like this could also be the reason why you could be completely surrounded by people and still feel alone. So this comes up a lot. I see this a lot when we're kind of keeping up with the Joneses, when we have this ideology of like we have to have the house with the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids and the husband and the whatever, and then you work so hard for so long, and then you get to like your supposed goal, right? Like you get all the things that you always wanted, right? Like you always thought you wanted and strived for, and set in motion, and then like you arrive there, right? And you're just kind of like, this is it. This isn't all it's cracked up to be. Like I didn't it, it's kind of like being lied to. Like the wool was pulled over our eyes, and then we get there, we're just like, what the fuck is this? This is not what I expected. So like it's not that you're not grateful for what you have. And it's not like you need to change your perspective. Like, there's some people that don't have these kind of things and I should be grateful, blah, blah, blah. It's actually dysregulation. Your system is too accustomed to bracing that it doesn't, it doesn't know how to receive the good when it arrives. So the conditioning, right? Like it's the layer that goes even deeper, but I think it's one of the more important things to say is that, most of us were taught either directly or indirectly that joy was conditional. Like we had to do something in order to get it. You can be happy when the work is done. You can rest when you've earned it. You can enjoy yourself once everything's taken care of. So joy was more of a reward and not like something that's a birthright, like something that we automatically get, right? Just for being. So we learn to put it at the end of this like goal list that's 5 miles long, and sometimes that we can never even reach the goal for, and learn that being too joyful and too expressive and too alive was, somehow unsafe. Like it's actually considered weird now when people are a little too happy and too joyful, right? Like, we're like, what's wrong with her? Is she on drugs? So, maybe these things like being joyful, like drew attention and it made other people uncomfortable. It made the moments when you're not fully yourself, also the moments that you got shut down and told to calm down, or, like you kind of suppressed your light because like other people, didn't want it at the time. So you learn to contain it and manage it and to, appropriate and be palatable. And so over time, the containment, it becomes the default. Like the management becomes the personality. The joy that was always yours gets quieter and quieter, and like you can barely hear it anymore. So here's what I know to be true. And I say this with, not as a platitude, but as someone who has done the work and, trying to find her own way back, that joy is not gone. Like it's never been missing. It's just been kind of waiting in the background, right? In the behind the curtain. Um, and it is underneath, like, all the exhaustion, underneath the performance, underneath the version of you that learned to survive by shrinking. It is the part of you that still lights up when a certain song comes on, that still gets completely lost in a conversation that, truly matters, or still that still feels something crack open in your chest, like when you witness something that's like awe-inspiring or beautiful, right? So it's not nostalgia, it's your joy. It's reminding you that it's still there. And the path back to it is not about, again, adding more to things, but and you don't need to make like a new morning routine or a gratitude journal or forcing yourself to see the silver lining. What actually helps in this way is subtraction. It's about creating enough space and enough safety in your nervous system that joy has somewhere to land. So it's about giving yourself permission, like real permission, not the kind you perform to other people, but to like feel good without earning it first, to rest without guilt, to play without a purpose, to be fully present in a moment just because you are alive in it. So, this isn't to say like, you know, you don't to completely avoid the things that don't bring you joy. No, it's actually finding joy in those mundane things. What is a way that perhaps that you can be, um, you know, a little silly when you're washing dishes or folding laundry? What is some ways that you can like add some dance into just like going to the kitchen to go get something to eat, right? Um, like it's making the Monday, like, yes, there are going to be obviously some things that aren't going to bring you joy. It's just, it is what it is. Because we do need the lightness and the darkness in order to, the darkness to see the lightness. So, you know, what used to make you feel the most alive? Like before responsibilities and before conditioning and before you learn to edit yourself. Like, I just want to ask you, like, when's the last time that you gave that thing that you used to enjoy, like, even 5 minutes of actual attention? Like, for me, I used to love to draw. And, I wasn't very good at painting, but, like, it was fun. Uh, like, joy doesn't need grand gestures. It just really needs an invitation. It needs you to turn towards it instead of past it. It needs you to say, like, I remember you. I'm not too busy for you anymore, right? Like, you're allowed to be here. So you didn't lose your joy. You just forgot that you were allowed to have it. And actually remembering that and really remembering that in the body, not just in the mind, is where the shift starts to begin. And so that's kind of what we're doing here together. Um, but what I wanted to say is, again, like, path back to joy is not doing more. You're actually creating conditions inside of yourself and in your nervous system, in your body, the way that you relate to your own presence to allow, joy to exist. So learning to receive the good and actually not thinking about how it might be taken away, like bracing for impact. Um, like, this is something, and I see this a lot, like with money. Like, people will get money and then they're like, oh shit, like, people are going to know I have money and then they're going to want to take it away from me. So, actually, like, when you get the money, like, and like, this can obviously be other things, not just money, but like when you receive it, like, actually be grateful for receiving it. um or if there's like a moment that you're having with your kid or someone that you love or, enjoy their presence being around. Um, Actually let yourself be fully in the moment. Maybe instead of like managing like time and what happens in that moment or what you're doing or whatever, or like putting your phone down, like face down or in your pocket, like so it's not out on the table when you're having like dinner with someone. Um, you know, Start to remember what it felt like before you learned to edit yourself, right? Um, so again, like this version's not gone. She's not lost. It's just hiding underneath everything that you've piled on top of her. And she's just waiting for you to stop being so busy and actually breathe for a second to finally say hello. So joy does come back, like in the kind of in the same way that it left. Like again, it's not just like a big, like all of a sudden you're going to be joyful the next day. It usually starts slowly, small, honest moments of permission through the choice to actually, maybe taste your food instead of eating while scrolling, or, through the song you turn up because it makes you feel like something, or through the conversation you have that goes somewhere real. Through the moment you look at your life and instead of cataloging what is missing, you actually feel like what is here. So it comes back through breath and through presence, through radical, almost revolutionary acts of deciding that your aliveness matters and you are allowed to prioritize it. So, um, which brings me now to, Everyday Quantum, which is starting this Tuesday. So it's built for exactly this. Because, what we are really talking about when we talk about finding our joy again is actually learning how to pull fifth dimensional consciousness into third dimensional living. It's learning how to hold the higher awareness of who you are at a soul level inside the very ordinary, very human, very mundane, messy daily lives that you're actually living. And so most people understand that they are more than just their circumstances, right? Like they've had their moments of clarity. They had, maybe felt that expansion, maybe they did like a meditation or a breath work where they touched on something real or a conversation that maybe cracked them wide open, but they don't know how to bring that into, you know, every day to day, especially when the kids are fighting and the inbox is full and the notifications are going off and the body's tired and the joy feels like something that just happens to other people, right? So that is the gap. And Everyday Quantum is the bridge. So we're going to talk about how, consciousness works in the body, and like we're not just going to be talking about theory, but um, we're going to go through states of consciousness, how to regulate your nervous system so that higher states are actually accessible to you in real life, and how to live with awareness in the ordinary things, in the ordinary moments, and how to stop waiting for life to be different before you allow yourself to feel fully alive in it. And so this does start Tuesday. This is where we kind of bring the mystical home to the practical and we make it livable. So come join us. Um, like you've waited long enough to, feel like yourself again. So, like this is something I'm really, really passionate about, and really like it is my joy to actually bring these things um, to my audience, to, just the general public, because I do feel like this is something that we all kind of need right now, right? So I hope you join me, and we will see you again next week, next Wednesday, same time, same back channel inside the Facebook group. Love you guys. I hope you have an amazing week, and we'll see you then. Bye now.